Nerd Rage Renegades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nerd Rage Renegades Podcast. Spin and Chief back with you, back for another awesome week of bullshit.
Indeed.
Bullshit, and bullshit. Oh, he's got the Oh, he got the sonic screwdriver.
I showed up as Tom Baker again because it's really cold in my vault.
It is getting chilly out there, isn't it? I mean, well, you're more in the you're getting that lake weather coming off of everything, aren't you?
Yeah, it's freezing here. It gets really... Actually, in the daytime, it's been pretty freezing, too. I was going to say it's not so bad in the day, but it is. It's pretty bad in the day, too.
Make sure that you don't have any cars freezing over this winter.
Oh, that should be okay this year. I'm not too worried.
All right, that's good. So a lot to get into this week. I mean, there's just been a lot going on, but the most important of which, of course, the most important thing that has gone on, of course, Chief, is after 25-plus years, I did it.
You did. I saw.
I beat Punch-Out. I beat Punch-Out. One of the hardest final bosses, whatever you want to call it, in gaming history. And I finally did it. 25-plus years. Now, I'll say this. I have the copy I have is the Mr. Dream one. I still need to get the Mike Tyson one. But the Mr. Dream fight is the exact same as the Mike Tyson fight. It's just, they lost the rights to Mike Tyson during the time, and that's why they brought out the Mr. Dream. It was different. Maybe that was during his rape allegations. They were like, no more Mike Tyson.
Maybe. How rare is the Mike Tyson version?
It's not that rare. It's not that rare.
That's the only one I've ever played. I've never played the Mr. Dream version. I've only ever played Tyson.
No, Tyson's one's not that rare, but it's the same fight. It's the exact same fight. Tyson and Mr. Dream. It's the exact same fight. Same mechanics, everything, and I fucking beat it. I
never beat it. I played it a lot, never beat it. Could never beat Tyson.
But now I have like this void, because for so long that was like my go-to game to like pop it in and just play because it's such a fun game. But now there's like that void of, well, what do I do now? I've beaten Contra. I've beaten Super C over the last couple years. I beat Zelda 2. I beat Nemo. I've beat Punch-Out. It's like, what is next?
Dude, do all the Mortal Kombats.
I've beaten all the Mortal Kombats when I was a kid.
From beginning to end.
I beat all those. You know what? I still need to beat Batman on NES. I can make it to the
Killer
Joker.
Instinct Gold. Beat that one.
I still need to beat Batman. I can make it to the Joker, but I haven't beat the Joker yet for Batman. And then I do have Batman Returns for the NES, so I do have those two. I got quite a few games. I'll see what. Well, right now I finally made it to the third volume of Dot Hack, so I'm still trugging away on that one. But it's just like I beat it and I went nuts. I was like, oh my god, fuck, shit, no way.
There were pictures. I saw pictures.
Hey, I could say I beat it, but without pictures, it didn't happen. You got to have proof that it happened, and well, now there's proof. I beat it.
Yeah, I was. A lot of people were congratulating you on that too. I was kind of surprised the reaction.
It's because
I was thinking, oh, well, I thought a lot of people beat that, but I guess not.
No. Tyson is Tyson / Mr. Dream is so hard to beat because the way it goes is when you get to him. First of all, you got to get to him. Before them is like Soda Popinski, Super Macho Man, and they're pretty tough. But when you get to Mike Tyson / Mr. Dream, all right, you have to last the first like minute 40, otherwise he will knock you out. Because up until like the first minute 40ish, I think it's about a minute 40, his punches, one punch knocks you out. And you only get up twice. Third time, it's total knockout. So, and I mean, he's fast. His movements are lightning fast. So you got to be faster on the buttons. You got to, you got to block. You got to dodge. But once you get past that, then it's learning what his pattern is going to be and how you want to take him out. I didn't knock him out. I won by decision, which if you get 5,000 points, you'll win by decision. But you got to get the 5,000 points, so that's knocking him down or hitting a supercut, uppercut, or something like that.
Who's your favorite of the lesser bosses? Mine's King Hippo because his pants fall down.
I love King Hippo. I like King Hippo. I like Glass Joe because he's the first one you always fight. I like Glass Joe.
But after you beat him in the face a few times, he just looks pitiful. Gets that big bruise on his eye.
It's real funny because you look at Punch Out, and every single character in that game is a stereotype.
Yeah, the Russian guy too is funny that dances around.
Well, I mean, you got from Germany, you have Von Kaiser.
That's not the Russian, the German guy.
Japan, you have Piston Honda.
Don
Flamingo from Italy or Spain. King Hippos from the islands.
The islands. Just non-specific islands.
The Great Tiger from India. It's so stereotyping in that game. But the thing is, that game is just so much fun, and everybody. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Punch-Out. If anybody doesn't like Punch-Out, let us know. I would like to know why you don't like Punch-Out. It's a great game.
It was like when Nintendo came out, you had like Mario and Punch-Out were my two favorite games on the system.
Oh yeah, how iconic is it that Big Fat Doc is riding his bike down in front of the Statue of Liberty, and you're running behind him in your pink tracksuit. Da 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 da. Oh man!
Epic.
And then Little Mac is the main boss of Bobo's Big Adventure.
Excellent.
That's a great game.
A little history lesson.
If you haven't played a Bobo's Big Adventure, it's an online game, so you can find it for free, and it is hilarious. So a Bobo is he was the big characters in Double Dragon that would like bust through walls.
Yeah.
So you're controlling a Bobo, and you go through different levels. So there's like a Double Dragon level, but then there's a Zelda level with a Bobo in a Zelda dungeon. Just so many Nintendo characters. I mean, Donkey Kong's in there, Kid Nicky, Samus, Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. The game is in there. At the end they show like Scrooge McDuck and all these other things. I mean, it's just it's a homage to everything Nintendo. I mean, there's one boss that's on a Contra level, but it's Kirby. It's a gigantic Kirby. And you have to
they get around copyright? They're allowed to just do that and use those characters like that?
Nobody's come after them. I mean, it's a fan parody game, I guess. I guess because it's a parody.
Yeah.
They can claim,
I guess that's covered by fair use or whatever.
But it's such a fun game. I highly recommend. Go find out a Bobo's Big Adventure. You got to go. You're a Bobo. You got to save a Boboy. You're trying to find a Boboy. So. But that was, So I'm excited about that. That was the great day in gaming history. and Chief, I'm going to ask because we haven't talked about it since the season started. Was last night a great day for The Walking Dead?
You know what, man? I'm pretty impressed so far with the season. Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Should I spoil it? I mean, it's been
I know what happened.
By the time this comes out, it'll be Wednesday.
Your favorite thing happened. Your favorite thing happened last night, didn't it?
Yeah, my favorite, what I've been waiting for. And I as my wife cried, I applauded and said, yes! Yes! Finally! The goddamn tiger finally bit the dust last night, and I've never been happier. But so far, the season is pretty damn good. They've gotten right into the war. There hasn't been any slowdown. They haven't killed the momentum. It's been war the last few weeks. And Carol, as much as I don't like that Carol's still alive and how far off the continuity is, I really thought Carol was pretty awesome Sunday night. And so far, it's making me interested again. I'll put it that way. And we've got an episode coming up. Not sure when they're going to do this, but it's Negan and Father Gabriel are trapped in a trailer together that's surrounded by zombies. And it almost looks like it could be the scene from the books, if you know what I'm talking about, with Rick and Negan in the building in Alexandria that's surrounded. And it looks like it may be that they might be jumping the gun a little bit on Negan's backstory and showing a little bit like how he's actually not that bad of a guy. I think that so far it's got my attention. They haven't even addressed the garbage people yet, so I'm not wondering if there weren't massive script rewrites because of the reaction to those people. Because so far, no sign of them at all. And they've shown them in like the preview clips. They've shown them like doing like talking to some people. I don't know if it's flashback scenes or what, but so far none of those people have been in it at all. Shiva finally bit the dust last night. They made Ezekiel out to be more of a hero than he is in the books. Because in the books he's a coward. That's kind of the reason Michonne leaves him.
Yeah.
And he kind of came off as more of a hero that he kind of lost the faith in himself, and he got a lot of people killed. But he stood and fought with them. He didn't run away from the battle. So he came off a little bit better. Carol came off awesome. Carol's just, I don't know, they've just made her like an amalgam character of a bunch of different things. A little bit of Michonne, a little bit of Andrea. She's just kind of this amalgam character, but she's totally badass for some reason. But it's pretty cool. And I'm liking it so far. I'm just hoping that they don't, like, cut the balls off of it. And slow it down. Because so far it's been the Rick you want. It's been the Alexandria. It's been the war you want from the books. And I'm just, if they can keep it up and play it out at the end, it'll be awesome. And I hope if it keeps going like this, and it rolls into that Negan in the cage storyline, and if they can speed up the goddamn festival planning,
get right to Alpha, Beta, and Lydia.
Have some time, even do a jump in time forward like they do. What is it, like 3 years or something in the book between? Do a time jump, do it a little bit longer, and just do some scenes and kind of build it up to let the audience know of Negan's kind of the way he's kind of seen things different, and move right into that Negan working with Rick against Alpha and the Whisperers storyline, and it'll be smooth and cool. But the Walking Dead likes to cut its own throat every season at least.
Oh yeah.
So
we get some good episodes, and then like we've said in the past, we get Morgan learning how to be a more calmer, less violent man.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need that. Or like 3 episodes of Beth in a hospital walking around helping people. I was like, I don't need that. Show me that's supposed to be the thing about it is like the comic book, because of the medium it's in, and it's kind of short form each month, a little bit of the story each month, sometimes twice a month when they want to ramp it up. But it's mostly because they have that little bit of space and time to tell you a bit of the story. It's branched out, but it's always still been mostly about Rick and his life and Carl. Yeah. And kind of the Grimes family, more or less. And then all these other characters have kind of come in, and you know about them. But I still feel that it's still mainly focused on Carl and Rick and how they're building society and kind of their associations with Negan and different people. The show is it's different in the way that they focus on the different characters more. Yeah. Like, they'll do a whole episode on one obscure character and show their background, and when they do that, to me, because I read the comic books, it just cuts the balls right off their story, and it's like they roll into a pace, and then they just throw the brakes on right in the middle of it, and that's what irritates me about the show. But so far, this season has been pretty fucking awesome. So, I mean, matter of fact, I would recommend, I would even tell you to go back and watch what you've missed. But if you wanted to see some pretty cool shit, then maybe watch, starting with this season, start with the first episode. It's pretty damn good, all the way up to this point.
Now we have stated many times like our disdain for Walking Dead fans, quote unquote. Yeah,
I don't mean all of them. No, I mean there's a certain element of the fan base I don't like.
That subdivision of it. But what I'm getting at is I can't wait to see. Because we saw the fan backlash about the garbage people and what's her name, Jadis, whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Jadis, I think.
The White Witch from Narnia.
It talks like Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Talks like Master Blaster.
But
I run mine to town.
yeah. They took their year. But I'm waiting to see if we do get the Whisperers, all that subdivision that we talk about, how they're gonna react when Alpha makes the fence of heads.
Yeah,
She built the wall of heads to say, "This is my land and that's your land. Don't come over on my land."
by the way, there's a reference to that. There was a foreshadowing of that in last night's episode, on Sunday night's episode. Ezekiel is captured by a savior after all of his crew that he was with get blown away by these big cannon guns they got. A lone savior that's just out there captures Ezekiel as he's trying to get away. And he takes Ezekiel's sword, and he said, Negan would have wanted me to bring you back alive. He said, but your head on a pike outside of the sanctuary would be just as good. And he starts to cut Ezekiel's head off.
Uh-huh.
At that point, and he stopped immediately. Like that big guy, the dude with the axe that hangs out with him all the time, cuts him in half. So, but they did foreshadow that Ezekiel's head will be on a pole in the future last night. So I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen.
Ezekiel, Rosita.
Yeah, I thought that I could be wrong because it's been so long since that they're so far back that it's been a long time to remember every detail. But I thought that Aaron's boyfriend died then too. I thought they got him.
It's so weird because
maybe he might have died in the war. I don't remember. He might have died in the war. Or his head might have been on the pole. I don't remember.
And what's so weird is we talk about how far back it was, but you remember we were there when All Out War came out. And
that's when it was 6 straight months. It was 12 issues twice a month. They ramped up the publication schedule so that they would show the intensity, and they did it all. So that's what worries me about the show is they're going to let up at some point, and it's going to kill the momentum.
Because I remember how excited we were for All Out War. Panda had even gotten me a variant cover for All Out War. Just how excited
I got
we
all
were.
of them. I got there were a whole bunch. I think there were 15 covers or something. I got every one.
And that every issue of All Out War, there was no downtime in any issue. It was just constant, back to back action, what the fuck moments.
Yeah, it was like at the end of every issue was like jaw dropping. Like, what the fuck could they possibly? Because at one point you thought Rick was dead. Dwight shot him with an arrow, and we had to wait 2 weeks to find out if Rick was infected or not, because that's when Negan had told everybody to poison their weapons, because Negan ran out of ammunition. All they had was, at one point they had knives and spears and arrows.
Yeah.
Because Negan really didn't have any ammunition at the time, so he told everybody to poison their weapons with zombie guts and blood, and that way, at least if they could just get one swipe in, they were going to die. And then he ordered Dwight to shoot Rick with a dirty arrow, and Dwight shot the arrow. But and we didn't find out that Dwight was actually a good dude until 2 weeks later when we found out the arrow wasn't infected.
Yeah. So, it's going to be interesting to see. There's so much interesting stuff going on in TV and stuff these days. It's so fun just to see. You read the thing, Netflix. This is segue. I'm getting on my segue here.
We got Punisher to talk about, so let's segue into that Netflix.
All right. Well, Punisher is it's not out yet.
No, coming out soon though.
Coming out soon. I was very worried about Punisher because, and I'm not downplaying any tragedies because there was a lot of tragedies, Las Vegas and everything, and that had pushed a lot of Punisher stuff. They canceled a lot of appearances, a lot of panels at conventions.
New York was the first one.
Yeah.
When I heard of they canceled it. And then they pushed back the air date.
Yeah. So, but it is coming out, and I can't wait to see it because, Bernthal. Now, and it's so funny because I hated Bernthal in Walking Dead. I hated Shane with a passion.
But I actually liked Shane. I thought he did a good job as Shane. I thought they dragged Shane's character out too long, but.
Well, Shane only was in 2 issues, and then maybe one more as a zombie. He died in issue 2, didn't he?
Yeah, Carl shot him in the neck. And it was real soon. It was within those first few issues because that's when Shane started getting jealous and went out hunting with Rick and pointed the gun at his back.
Yeah. But I mean, and that's what I say. I didn't like Shane, the character, but Bernthal's portrayal of Shane was amazing, and his portrayal of Punisher in Daredevil season 2 was just outright phenomenal. And now we're actually going to get to see the Punisher. We know that we know Jigsaw is going to be in it. We know
Microchip's already. Well, they kind of hinted at Chip last season.
Micro's in it. You know, we're going to get the battle van.
Yeah, the battle van's in the trailer. Oh man, I'm so excited. It's like one of my favorite all-time Marvel characters, and somebody, not Dolph Lundgren. Thomas Jane did it okay.
I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, they've said that there's going to be a Daredevil season 3, and
I saw that.
Vincent D'Onofrio has said he is coming back as Wilson Fisk. But the biggest thing people are asking is, with Disney going to launch their own streaming service, the Disney streaming service, Disney owns Marvel. What's going to become of the Marvel television series? Are they still going to be on Netflix, or are they going to go to this Disney streaming service?
What I've heard is Netflix says no more Marvel. From what I thought it was announced already. I don't know if that's just a rumor or not.
I mean, this goes back. I mean, this has been going back for months. As always, we're a little, you know. But according to this was brought. This is from The Verge on November 11th. So this is only 2 days old. Let's see. During the Walt Disney Company's quarterly earnings call on November 9th, CEO Bob Iger, hello Bob Iger, casually dropped some news. The tidbit that made the biggest headlines was that the company had just closed the deal with writer-director Rian Johnson to create a new trilogy of movies in the Star Wars universe. So there will be a new trilogy of Star Wars movies. But another comment may end up having more of a significant impact, not just for Disney, but for the entertainment world at large. Iger announced that Disney is developing a series of original television shows for its upcoming video streaming service. They include a live-action Star Wars television series, Chief.
Oh. Hopefully it's not like the Ewok show.
Yeah.
The Ewok movie.
Yeah.
I hope it's actually good.
A new Marvel show. And for some god-awful reason, they're making a program based on High School Musical. Just kill that fucking franchise. I hate that fucking franchise with a passion. But the company that led to, let's see, competitors like Amazon joining the game, yada yada yada. But it looks like, I mean, any deal can be made.
Well, I found this thing right here. It says that. This is from Digital Spy. It's from 4 days ago, and it says Netflix won't have any Marvel TV shows soon, according to Disney. And it says Netflix and Marvel might seem like a match made in heaven at the moment, but it looks like the happy union might soon be over. Despite premiering a number of successful series from the comic book giant, including the likes of Jessica Jones, Defenders, and Luke Cage, Netflix will no longer be their home, according to the Wall Street Journal. Disney Chief Strategy Officer Kevin Mayer confirmed the news, insisting that the House of Mouse's plans were pro-Disney rather than anti-Netflix. So, according to Disney Chief Strategy Officer Kevin Mayer, they're done at Netflix. They're not doing it anymore.
Right. And the other big thing, Disney, I mean, first of all, we know the Mouse's pockets are deep. The Mouse has them pretty deep. He's got a big wallet.
Buy back Fantastic Four and X-Men, then.
Disney is in talks to buy Fox.
Oh man, if that happens, you know what? If the print line aside, I'll be thrilled, because that means they'll have a complete Marvel universe for the first time ever, and it's going to be amazing. I thought that Spider-Man Homecoming was brilliant, by the way. If anybody out there hasn't seen it yet, I thought that despite the more Ultimate Spider-Man kind of changes they made to it, the character is fantastic, and it's probably the best portrayal of Peter Parker that's ever been done, for sure.
Now remember, Spider-Man Homecoming was Sony.
Yeah, the first time that Marvel heroes were together, like Iron Man's in that and shit, and Captain America. It's pretty fucking badass.
So if Fox consolidates, if they merge with Fox, they will get back the Fantastic Four. They will get back the X-Men.
and Deadpool and everything that goes along with it.
All of that comes home. It all comes home.
You think Jackman will do Wolverine again, do an Old Man Logan if they do that and be in a Marvel movie?
I would hope so, because, I mean, Jackman has always said he wanted to be in the MCU. He's made comments about Wolverine being in the MCU. Yeah. I would say, you know what, Jackman, put on the claws one more time and come back as Old Man Logan and have a fucking ball with, you know, all those other, with everybody. They've hinted that Wolverine almost did appear in Winter Soldier, I thought. One of the Captain America, I think one of the Winter Soldier, but one of the Captain America movies, they were in talks with maybe getting a crossover before SpiderMan happened. Maybe getting Hugh Jackman to come in as Wolverine in one of the Captain America movies, but it didn't happen, I guess. Well, and as we know, that Logan did serve in World War II.
Yeah.
It's been known that Wolverine served in World War II for the Canadians.
Wolverine as well, Frank Castle too, but Wolverine has a high regard for Captain America. And when other heroes will tell Wolverine something or try to give Wolverine orders, he kind of scoffs at it and does his own thing. But one of the only characters in the entire Marvel Universe that Wolverine respects and will take orders from is Captain America. And Frank Castle will too. They just have ultimate respect for Cap.
I mean,
I would love to see that interaction.
I mean, if you look outside of the X-Men, if you look outside Wolverine's affiliation with X-Men teams, he's got a very strong respect for Captain America, and he has kind of a love-hate relationship with Hulk. I mean, he's fought Hulk on many an occasion. It's more kind of like, it's like Apollo Rocky. Fight number 3, ding ding. You know,
well, they've had their fights, but they've also fought together, and many times. And matter of fact, when they did that future story, the future, like Old Man Logan and Old Hulk were like time traveling and jumping around and together in some alternate universe. But
and we also know that Wolverine has a very strong respect for the Fantastic Four.
He's also got Wolverine has a long. Enduring and to the point where he will tip him off to get away. He's good friends with Frank Castle, so Wolverine Punisher combo would be most welcome too.
And you know what this could also lead to if Disney consolidates with Fox, and I think it would be season 2, season 3, whatever you want to do with it. Give us Iron Fist and Sabretooth.
Oh man, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I would love to see. Actually, the current storyline in Iron Fist with Sabretooth would be a pretty amazing thing, where they're actually working together to solve a mystery.
Oh yeah,
that would be cool. But the initial fight would be cool. I'd like to see Shang-Chi get in there at some point.
He's got to. You would think Shang-Chi at some point has to come into that. I mean.
Well, they're really close in the books too. So I mean,
very close. In fact, and Shang-Chi has beaten Iron Fist before in a fair martial arts contest. No Iron Fist, just skill against skill. Shang-Chi has beaten Danny Rand.
Well, they just went at it an issue ago in Iron Fist, and Shang-Chi pretty much did beat him again.
Yeah. Now, give it, Shang-Chi was possessed at that point.
Yeah, but it was still his skill that was beating him.
Yeah, but Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi has so much respect in the Marvel Universe from everybody. I mean, all the supers, the people with powers, have a very high respect for Shang-Chi because he has no powers, but he still kicks everybody's ass.
True. And he's just a cool character. It's just
he's always been a cool character.
It's a cool character, and it harkens back to Bruce Lee and the Bruce Lee era and I just love that the 70s to the 80s martial arts movies and stuff. It harkens back to all that for me, and so does Iron Fist to a degree, and that's why I like those two books.
I mean, the possibilities are just so endless with everything we could get. I mean, we've gotten Civil War, we've got Winter Soldier, we could get Avengers versus X-Men.
They just had a little bit of Planet Hulk and Thor too. So I want to see a Secret Wars. That's what I want. I want a Secret Wars.
Secret Wars would be good. We could see the Phoenix. We could see more encompassing of what the Phoenix, the role of the Phoenix in the Marvel universe as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely, and because that had consequences across the entire Marvel universe when that happened. So I mean, it's like the X-Men, especially Magneto, especially Wolverine, are needed in the Marvel universe. They're just needed, and the Fantastic Four.
Reed Richards is needed. That is someone.
And Hank McCoy. They need the Illuminati complete is what they need to do any further later storylines. They need those characters.
Iron Man, Reed, Namor, Charles Xavier.
They got Black Panther already.
Black Panther. They got Iron Man already. But yeah, we need the Illuminati. That brings all that in. I mean, think about it. So
they can start doing Hickman shit if they get the Illuminati.
Well, I mean, in the newest X-Men movie, the Phoenix that they're going to do, they're going to bring in the Shi'ar Empire.
Yeah, I'm excited I'm more excited for the Fox side of things lately than I am what Marvel's doing.
And then you have Josh Brolin playing both Cable and Thanos.
Yeah, I dual man. If they merge and he's gonna play them both, that'd be crazy.
He looks damn good as Cable. His Cable looks pretty damn good.
I think that the Deadpool is so far out of all of the Marvel movies that have been made. Deadpool to me, and I'd say Deadpool along with Spider-Man: Homecoming on the Marvel side, but Deadpool feels more like the Marvel universe that I love. And the Marvel Universe I grew up reading my whole life. It feels more like that to me than any of the Marvel stuff. The Marvel stuff is flashy. Here's the flashy costumes. Here's all the heroes, but it just still seems like a big studio, like Disney type movie. But like Deadpool being rated R, and the fact that the whole history of the Marvel Universe is implied through like a fucking shield helicarrier just as a background prop.
Yeah.
And the fact that Colossus gets in a cab and the cab driver doesn't think anything of it. He's used to mutants and just used to superheroes in the world. And like, that's the way, instead of all the people like in the Marvel movies running and screaming running for their lives and freaking out at the first sight of the Hulk or whatever, the people in the Marvel universe, like in New York, are more like, oh great, the Hulk, now I'm going to be late to work. That's kind of their attitude. And that's kind of the way they played it off in Deadpool. That's the way people were with mutants and heroes in the world. And so I think they've got it right more than just about anybody.
And I mean, Fox and Marvel have made deals before, because we know that Ego was a deal made between Marvel and Fox. Gunn wanted Ego. They went to Fox. Fox wanted Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So they said, all right, we'll do a one-for-one character. You give us Ego, we'll give you Negasonic. Boom, there you go. The deal is done, because I think Ego's rights were falling under the Fantastic Four with Galactus, the Surfer, and all that.
That's Galactus, Silver Surfer. Those we need those characters for the cosmic. You can't do cosmic Marvel without Galactus and the Silver Surfer. You just can't do it.
You can't do it. I mean, the Guardians coming across Silver Surfer or Galactus or Terrax or some of those characters. The Heralds of Galactus would be a huge thing in the Marvel Universe. Then you have Thanos out there. I mean, Thanos is out there in the universe. Galactus is out there. The Shi'ar, the Kree, the Brood, all of that.
The most exciting thing to me is the prospect of Marvel getting to do their own Fantastic Four for the first time and getting to do their own X-Men for the first time.
And making it
because what they did with Spider-Man was they took everything that was wrong with the Sony Spider-Man movies and all the other incarnations of Spider-Man. They took everything that just was not Spider-Man and they threw it right the fuck out the window, and they gave us, it was teenage high school Peter Parker, but it was Peter Parker. Yeah. It was friendly neighborhood Spider-Man Peter Parker, smart-mouthed kid. Like, the old people in his neighborhood love him because he saves cats and shit. He's just this small-time, low-rent street hero that wants to be an Avenger, wants to impress, but nobody really respects him or anything. And that's exactly what Peter Parker is. And Marvel delivered it.
And the fact that the villain was not some super-powered being. He was a normal guy whose life was destroyed because of the big heroes. And
he had a purpose. Yeah, they actually wrote the Vulture with more purpose than he actually has in the comic books.
I mean, he had a good job. He was clean. He was working for the city. He had city contracts that was going to pay him.
And Michael Keaton is just fucking great and everything. Even as like as much as I don't like his Batman movie, I like him.
I love Keaton Batman. I always thought out of that film series, Kilmer, Clooney, Keaton was the best of All three.
Out of all of those, and Tim Burton being involved helped a lot too. But
I even say he was better than Bale, because I can't stand Bale. I can't stand Bale's Batman. I can stand Bruce Wayne.
I didn't like. I think as much as Ben Affleck's catching a lot of shit these days, but I still like Affleck's Batman best of all. But Kevin Conroy and then Ben Affleck.
Oh, definitely Kevin.
The animated series they're never ever going to make a movie that's going to be as good as that animated series was.
Did you see the trailer for Gotham by Gaslight?
No, I've seen that it's coming out, but I didn't watch the trailer yet. But I definitely want to see it. I've got the HeroClix figure of Gotham by Gaslight.
Bruce Greenwood is back voicing Batman. He voiced him a lot.
So Red Hood.
Yeah, Red Hood, Batman voice, he's back. But with the Marvel stuff, I mean, just what I do want them to do, I don't want an origin Fantastic Four. Give us an established Fantastic Four.
Exactly. I've said forever, the way they need to open a Fantastic Four movie, because it's fantastic, is open it with fucking alarm bells going off in the Baxter Building and all the Fantastic Four all gathering, running down to Reed's lab. And he's opening some portal to fucking the microverse or something, and he's all stretched all over the fucking lab with all different fucking shit blaring off, and just start the movie out like bam, like a punch in the face. This is the Fantastic Four.
I mean, you could kind of do, like, in the opening credits, just show, like, newspaper clippings of, like, Richard's family, the Richards family goes into space, gamma radiation, and then boom, right into what you said.
Well, like how they did the credits for all of them. They always kind of show a little bit of lead up to like how they became what they are in those credits. But do that, and then just blammo, hit me over the head with it right in the beginning, and
it's got to be and do Doom right. Make it like here's what I want. I want that, and then
Latvarian asshole.
Well,
snooty dude into voodoo.
Well, here's what I want to see. So you got what you said, the microverse and all that. Then you see the United Nations. You see the United Nations building, and there's T'Challa, with Wakanda, or the representative from Wakanda. There's representatives from all over the place, and then there's Victor Von Doom.
Yeah.
And it's just Von Doom, Latveria, saying, and you could even tie it in that Sokovia was so close to Latveria, he's taken in refugees to Latveria from Sokovia.
He does have diplomatic immunity. We've seen that Doom does have there's a Latverian embassy in New York, and when Doom's on that ground, he's got diplomatic immunity, and they can't touch him.
He's a country ruler. So have that, but then, then you can go into everything else. Don't make it Garbage Man, Mummy, Doom. Don't make it that, the radiation melted, my whole body, Doom.
It doesn't matter. Like people are going to be unhappy with it no matter what. I think no matter somebody's going to be unhappy with it. But I say do the traditional armor and make it look like Doctor Doom from the comic books.
I mean, even if he's
cool as you can.
And like if he's talking at the United Nations, they have to see his face. Do it like it's a hologram. Like because he's got the technology.
Or he sends a Doombot, or just some weaselly Latvian guy to stand there in his place.
Yeah, it's just something like that. But he's got to be Doom. He's got to be Victor Von Doom. He can't be just some menace. He has to be smart. He's got to be a scientist, a genius. But everything it's his country. And then you can play into basically the whole with the stuff with Wakanda is. Any superhero going into his...
He's kind of like Kim Jong-un. He'd be like a Kim Jong-un type character, the way...
But it would be kind of like Wakanda, because any superhero that goes into Latveria, they're going into foreign soil, which basically means he has a declaration of war. I mean, there's so much you could do with that. And that's when you get Thing and a Wolverine and a Marvel 2-in-1.
Yeah, man. See, it's... If Disney could pull it off and they get back all the characters, they can do so many. They can do one-offs. They can do one-shot movies. They can do Marvel 2-in-1 movies. Do that. Everybody at this point, with all the Marvel movies for the last however many 10 years they've been coming out, everybody is pretty familiar with the Marvel Universe, and the kids now are growing up with the Marvel Universe and being told who all these people are. You're not going to need all these origin stories anymore. All you need to just start these movies out punching people in the face with heroes.
And then like what I want to see, you have that now. The series I would love to see, if they get all the rights and everything. One, we've called it. We want it is Moon Knight. We want Moon Knight.
And, well, it's sad because there was the prospect of that happening on Netflix. Well, hopefully if Disney does get their own streaming service up, we'll get that eventually. But that Moon Knight was one of the names being batted around back when they were talking about what could be next.
A little nod to our buddy John Kroll. I would love another Blade series.
Well, yeah, and I would like not only just Blade. I would like to do the Night Stalkers or one of those team ups with Hannibal King or Werewolf by Night.
The Midnight Suns story arc. Do you like the Midnight Suns?
Exactly, that one, or like just do a Marvel horror title where they can do the first season would be do like a Moon Knight season.
Series, like an anthology.
Do an anthology. Each season is a different character. Do Blade, do Ghost Rider, do Werewolf by Night, do Marvel's version of Frankenstein, do Dracula, Tomb of Dracula.
And see, I was gonna say Ghost Rider, but I gotta preface it. Johnny Blaze. Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and we know from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they've said Johnny Blaze does exist in the Marvel Universe. So. And
Johnny Blaze is a completely different, and this is something I did like in Legacy, is Legacy had the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, and he did the penance stare, and he even said in there, when did I learn how to do that? Yeah. He's never been able to do that.
That was weird. That was kind of cool.
But Johnny Blaze Robbie Reyes isn't the Spirit of Vengeance.
No, He's something else. He's not like Johnny Blaze.
No, Blaze is the Spirit of Vengeance. Blaze
he made a deal with Mephisto. Yeah.
And which brings me to the other series I would love to have, which we could tie into Jessica Jones a little bit. I want Damon Hellstorm.
I would, I think they could do that too, and I think that could tie into Doctor Strange somehow.
I was saying Jessica Jones because Trish Walker is Patsy Walker.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's all connected, but I mean, they could do the Hellstorm storyline in the Marvel horror line of series.
And I think that's where Marvel dropped the ball.
Because you got Morbius. Morbius could be in there, and there was all kinds of occult shit throughout the 70s with Marvel, like all kinds of occult stuff. And you could bring Damon Hellstrom into that, Hellcat, all that shit.
Satana, Blackheart. All of those guys, and I think that's where Marvel dropped the ball with
Brother Voodoo.
That's where I think Marvel dropped the ball with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is they got too wrapped up on the Inhumans. They got way too fucking wrapped up on the Inhumans.
Well, they had no X-Men. They had to fucking make the Inhumans the X-Men of Marvel, which is not right.
They have that whole episode arc with Ghost Rider, but yet we don't get an episode arc where Nick Fury shows up and tells Coulson or whoever it's time to bring in the Howling Commandos, and everybody's thinking, but they're dead, World War II, and then boom, it's Werewolf by Night, it's the Living Mummy,
Man-Thing.
It's Man-Thing. And we know Man-Thing exists. They have in season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they mentioned Man-Thing.
Yeah.
He exists, and with Thor Ragnarok, we know he exists because the Grand Master has an effigy of him on his freaking tower.
Yeah.
Give me Man-Thing with Howard in it. Howard's got to do that whole first thing of fear where Man-Thing, Howard, all of them have to go to that dimension because there's something going on in the nexus between all realities, and they have to save it.
Well, there's also with the Fantastic Four, you got Franklin Richards who has a lot to do with Man-Thing too. So I mean, you could do.
Franklin and Valeria are coming back, Chief.
There's so much, and people say that the era of the superhero movies dying, and people are sick of it. Not if Marvel does what they could do. If they do what they could do, it would reinvigorate it and make it fucking awesome.
If they stopped giving the writing over to Hollywood writers and let comic book fans write these movies, they would be epic.
Well, that's what I think is good about the DC movies, is because they're having guys like Jeff Johns consult, and they're having the writers come in and look at what they're doing.
But I mean, Legacy, man. Franklin and Valeria are coming back to the main universe, Chief.
Which means Reed and Sue are coming, because they're not just going to let Franklin and Valeria run off into back to home.
And that was so. Have you caught up on SpiderMan, The Fall of Peter Parker?
No.
Oh, him and Johnny Blaze go at it because. So after what happened with Doc with Hydra Ock, trying to steal all of the Parker Industries stuff, and Parker basically had to destroy everything.
Yeah.
He's liquidating all his assets to pay back everybody, and one of the things he's got to get rid of is the Baxter Building, and it pisses off Johnny. He goes, "Are you fucking kidding me? You promised me that this was always going to be the home of the Fantastic Four, and you're selling it. You're fucking selling it." And then Spider-Man and Johnny Blaze fight and basically destroy half the Baxter Building. And Norman Osborn, or not Norman, Harry Osborn, or Harry Lyman as he's going, he's like, "Well, fuck, now I can't sell the fucking thing." But, oh man, there's just so much. Legacy, I'm telling you, I don't know how much I can say this. There's so much good stuff I can see coming in Legacy that that Marvel is finally going to do right. And yes, people have been kissing his rear end on Twitter and Facebook and media for weeks. But Marvel, Bendis is gone from Marvel now. Bendis is now signed with DC Comics. Now here's the pros and the cons. Pros. Bendis is gone from Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I will admit.
As a clown.
Now here's the thing. I admitted this on Facebook. There are some good things that Bendis did. All right, he did do some good things. I like Miles Morales. I do like Miles Morales. I think he's a good character. I think he's got some great stories out there. I mean, he did give us Jessica Jones, which was good. But when you can't, when you are picked to helm an event, a industry event for Marvel, and you can't get right the characters, you can't remember that. It's that at this point in time in the books, it's Doc Ock, Superior Spider-Man, not Peter Parker, and then you have to try to, on social media, you have to try to explain that it was actually Doc Ock, even though...
Well, not only that, enlist Dan Slott to try to help you explain what's going on, which was bullshit. And what it is at the time that's like Age of Ultron and Battle of the Atom and shit like that was coming out, Bendis was doing so many goddamn series for Marvel and for the different Marvel imprints and his own independent stuff. He was doing so much shit and consulting like on the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and shit. And I think he produced that or something. And he was just doing so much shit. I just don't think he has time. He wasn't paying any attention to what the fuck he's even writing.
And so many people I saw, and like I said, I'm not knocking the guy that much because there are he did do some good stuff. I mean, but when everybody I saw, I don't know. Maybe it's because Chief and I are old school. Maybe it's because we've been collecting comics all of our lives. You know, our books are freaking old. They're freaking, the pages are sometimes yellowed. You know, when we touch them, the ink doesn't freaking smear. But so many people I was saying that I saw were like, if it wasn't for the Ultimate Universe, I never would have gotten into comics, which is great. I want more people into comics. I do. I want to preface that. I want more people into comics because the more comics that are being sold, that's the more comics that are being written. But I hated the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I never liked the Ultimates. I bought the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. This is before Miles Morales, so you can't come at me and say I don't just because of Miles Morales, whatever.
Yeah.
This was Peter Parker Spider-Man. I read the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I didn't like it. I never bought another one.
Yeah, I never liked the changes. I didn't like the Ultimate X-Men. You know, it just wasn't. It just didn't feel right with me. And then when he's writing Civil War 2.
That was horrible. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I canceled every Marvel book I was getting.
Well, the whole thing with Civil War 2 was, in my eyes, was Bendis saying the old heroes suck, the new heroes are where it's at. That seemed to be the whole. They
killed Banner with an arrow, which is a bitch way to die, and I hated that. And then totally writing Tony Stark against character really bothered me.
And then the whole thing just culminates in Tony Stark going into like a coma thing. That way, Riri Williams Ironheart can take over the title, you know, which Bendis was also writing. That to me was just completely. That to me was a slap in the face. Civil War 2 to me was a slap in the face to every comic book fan of Marvel's for the last 60+ years. Now, I will say,
and it was pointless. It was absolutely pointless. The whole arc was completely pointless. And then they extended it into like months after it was supposed to be over. From what I remember, I thought they extended out. They needed like another. They added an extra issue to it or something, and it just got ridiculous. And he wrote himself into a corner, and he had to add an extra issue to it to write himself out.
Yeah,
that's Bendis. That's the laziness and why I don't like Bendis, because He puts too much on his plate and he can't pull it off. I think he wants to be a Hickman and he's not a Hickman.
Now, Nick Spencer brought. I will say this: Nick Spencer brought some stuff back with Secret Empire. As I said, to me, Nick Spencer's Secret Empire basically was a middle finger that everything you're doing at Marvel is stupid. This is the way it needs to be. Bringing back classic Cap, bringing back classic characters, and then you got Jason Aaron, who writes Legacy, which brings. I mean, he brought back Logan. He brought back the Wolverine in a fantastic fucking way.
Yeah. What was it, Infinity Stone?
He's got an Infinity Stone. And the fact that they went to where he was buried, and it was just shattered. The adamantium was shattered.
He just broke out. And we also got my favorite part of it, which is Hulk, it's time to come home, over the radio. Which to me, it says... we've detected they say something to the effect, we've detected your biosignature, we know you're alive, Hulk, it's time to come home. It would not be Banner's biosignature if they were talking about Cho. This is planet, what is the Korrigar, not Korrigar, what's the...
Well, we know
Scar, what's the planet called? Sakaar or something like that?
Well, we know that Cho is going to Sakaar. We know that. That's in the books.
I'm thinking it's going to be they're going to grab the wrong Hulk by mistake.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Banner's... Because they're reading his biosignature and said so they evidently knew he was dead because they said, we know you're alive, which implies that it's Banner. And it also talks about his biochemical or biosignature or whatever. So I don't think that they would get the same bio readings from Cho that they would from Banner.
Right. So... and there's been talks that the Hulk will be coming back at that point, and there's been talks that because of the Hulk's success in all the Marvel movies, Marvel is in talks of maybe trying again with a solo Hulk film.
Please do, and put somebody in it worthy of the Hulk.
Make
him fight MODOK and AIM.
Yeah, or the leader.
The leader, or do Red Hulk. Have Thunderbolt Ross become Red Hulk. Have him fight Red Hulk.
Or even the Wendigo. I'll even take the Wendigo.
Just hold off on that until we get Fox, and then do the whole Wolverine
Wendigo. Yeah,
Wendigo Hulk storyline.
I see where you're going with that. I see. But, so Bendis is going over to DC Comics. He signed a multi-year deal. It's been all over the news. People kissing rear end. Now, right now we've got two big DC events in the, one is going on and the other one is coming in the next week. We got Metal, helmed by Snyder.
Which is fucking brilliant. I don't care what anybody says. It's the darkest fucking Justice League shit you're ever going to read.
And then you've got Doomsday Clock coming. So you got two huge, and Doomsday Clock is Johns, right? It's Jeff Johns, right?
Yes, and I have read I don't know what kind of truth there is to it, but Tom King has come out and said yes, Metal and everything, Doomsday Clock, Metal, everything is all tied together.
And
these two events are simultaneously going to be going on, but they're also tied together in some way.
And I had to tell somebody on a Facebook page because they were like, oh, they'll probably take Snyder off of Batman and give it to Bendis, and I had to say, Snyder is not on Batman. Tom King is on Batman. Snyder is on Metal. So if you're going to make a statement like that, get your facts straight, because that proved to me you don't know anything about what's going on currently in DC Comics.
But, no, you know what? Even if they give Bendis Batman, give him a fucking option. Don't give him the title. Give him something else.
Give him Tales of the
Dark Knight.
Batgirl. Just give him Batgirl.
That's perfect for Bendis. Give him Batgirl.
Don't touch Nightwing, and don't you touch Red Hood. Because I don't want Red Hood to all of a sudden become, oh, I don't like what they're saying, I'm going to go ahead and start tweeting and shit. No, Red Hood is fuck you, I shoot you. Fuck you, pay me. That's Red Hood. But I say Bendis should go to the Young Animals imprint, because to me, that's more his writing, his motif, let me put it that way, would be the Young Animals.
Yeah, and he could do anything there. Like he's got like indie stories that he does. He could do anything he wants. He doesn't have to stick with the heroes. Let him put him over there in his own little playpen and keep him away from everything important.
Give him a little play. He can play on that side of the playground. You can't come over here with the cool kids on the monkey bars. You stay over there in the sandbox. And I admit, I don't read the Young Animals. I read the first couple issues of Doom Patrol, and it just I didn't like it because that was not Doom Patrol.
No, it's not. It wasn't nearly what I wanted out of it at all.
And then you have this other one called Mother Panic, who is supposedly this new hero in Gotham. Gotham has one hero, and then his frickin' family. All right, that's all you need. Batman and the Bat family, and maybe Gotham Girl. I like Gotham Girl.
Well, as evidenced by the fact that Bruce, when actually in the very issue, in that arc with Gotham Girl, is the first time Bruce has ever called the League to Gotham to help him.
Yeah.
Because Gotham was there, and Gotham was like Superman level strength, and he couldn't handle it. So he had Alfred call the League. Yeah, Alfred even had to say, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want me to call the League?" And Batman's like, "Make the call." And finally Superman shows up and grabs Gotham by the cape and is kind of holding him up in the air.
Yeah. So I don't get some of those stories. Like they had Shade the Changeling Girl. What is it? Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye.
Yeah.
To me that seemed like we're going to take old characters that had history and we're going to completely flip them on their heads 180 and change them completely.
Yeah, I guess that's the way to do it because that leaves, when you put it on Young Animal, that leaves it open in the regular DC universe that the other writers can still use those characters, and the Young Animal stuff is out of continuity and they can do whatever they want.
It's like an Elseworld. It's like one of the Elseworld stories.
Yeah, and we'll have multiverses. Just say multiverse when things get tough.
But like I said, I acknowledge that there are some good things that Bendis did well. I mean, without Bendis, we wouldn't have Jessica Jones. We wouldn't have Jones marrying Luke Cage. We wouldn't get those awesome.
I kind of like this Power series that he did that wasn't really connected to Marvel.
Yeah, that was fine. But issue-wise, I mean, he can do good on single issues. Just don't give him an event.
No, he can't concentrate on an event.
Don't give him Marvel's event guys. Right now, I'm taking Hickman out of the equation because we know Hickman's not writing anything for any of the big companies right now.
No.
But right now, if you're talking about event guys, it's Jason Aaron. That's number one. Jason Aaron is number one.
That Legacy one-shot is just amazing.
Amazing. I wouldn't be opposed. I don't know if they would, but I think Cullen Bunn could do something.
Cullen Bunn is good. He's better than he gets credit for.
He does. He's really good. His work on X-Men Blue is great. The stuff he's done with X-Men Blue has been
his Deadpool really series that were pretty.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty Marvel essential stuff.
They are. But those two, I mean, maybe. I mean, Nick Spencer. He impressed me with Secret Empire. Now over on DC, Snyder Johns. I'm sorry. Snyder Johns. Tinian.
Tinian, Tom King. Tom King's currently my favorite, actually. I love Batman more than ever. I think Batman right now is currently the best it's probably been.
It has, yeah.
I consider Snyder part of that, though. I mean, not just Tom King, but what Snyder did with Batman was reinvigorate that character and write like 4 of the best arcs that he's done in like 30 years.
Yeah.
And then Tom King took over just. I've never seen such a smooth transition from one writer to another and continue on. And to not mess with it, but to put his own spin on it too, and to change it slightly, but it still feels like the same character.
And especially when you go and you renumber it back to a number 1 after the New 52, but that King's Batman that he's writing has so many ties to, any other writer could have said we're just gonna go in this old direction, but that King has so much tying in with Snyder with what he did in the New 52, with the Court of Owls and all this other stuff. It's just fantastic. The whole, like I said, most of the Bat family books are great. They got a great team on most of those Batman books.
Detective is good. I like the idea that they had with Detective, and now it's starting to get more back to, since Tim Drake is back, I think it's going to be more centered around Tim Drake and the Bat family.
Yeah.
But Detective was I liked the idea that they had with the Belfry in Detective, where they had Tim Drake design that new kind of watch post where they were training the new kind of Batman family of new recruits with Clayface and like Orphan and shit. Like I like that.
I like Red Hood. Like I said, I've liked Red Hood. With the Dark Trinity as they're called, with Artemis and Bizarro. I've liked that, because he's more. It's like he's taken on more of the Gotham underworld, like they took on Black Mask and things like that.
I think that last issue of Detective would be the perfect. If I knew a kid that really liked Batman and really wanted to get into reading Batman comics, I think if you wanted to get a kid that really liked Batman, get him that last issue of Detective where you had the entire Bat family versus future Tim Drake Batman. And I think it was over 2 books. It was like right after Tim Drake broke out of Mr. Oz's place and they came back to the regular time. From that point on, and then that last issue where you had Batman and the boys in the fighter jets, like strafing the Belfry while Batwoman and Nightwing and young Tim Drake were all fighting the Tim Drake Batman in the Belfry. And I was like, that was just cool. I mean, that had like every member of the Bat family in it. I was like, if you want to get a kid into reading Batman and into the Bat family, I think it's like 986. I think that's the issue you have to get.
Well, let's go ahead. Before we get in, since we've been talking a lot of comics, we're going to continue that. But before we get to this week's DC books that we got, and boy, did we get a good one, I do want to tell everybody right now, if you're listening to this, I want you to take some time. Please go over to our YouTube channel. Just search Nerd Rage Renegades on YouTube, because we have dropped another commentary track this week.
Yeah, I listened to it probably 2 hours ago, and it's pretty good.
So we have dropped Psychotronic Man from 1979. So make sure you go over there. All the directions are in there of how you sync it up with the movie. I will put the link to the movie in the description of the video, and just give us a listen, give us a thumbs up on that if you like it.
Some people have been watching the Bigfoot one.
Yeah.
I've seen the numbers are going up on that. People are watching it.
We work very hard on those commentary tracks, and a lot of them, it's some we're like the first 2, Bigfoot and Gargoyles, Chief and I had seen before, so we were ready. We knew we knew the good stuff. Chief had seen Psychotronic Man. I hadn't, so you got that little bit of spontaneity. And then next week you're gonna have all spontaneity, because it's a movie that Chief and I had only seen a review of. We'd never seen the whole movie.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize you hadn't seen it all before. That was the first time I saw it.
I only saw the review. So next week we will have for you The Time Machine I Found at a Yard Sale. And let me just tell you,
that's a hard movie to watch. I'm telling you, but you might like it better with our comments on it. You don't want to watch it cold.
If you want to hear Chief and I fall into the abyss, the dark abyss of madness, this is going to be the movie for you. And then in 2 weeks we are going to have for you Bullet to the Head with. Hey, what's Sylvester Stallone? Hey, how you going, Chief?
You're on Pub Rock.
So once again, go over to YouTube channel, check that out. But let's go ahead and hit that spoiler alert, because we got to talk about some Batman, the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Chief, we finally got it. The last of the Dark Knight's books. We got the last.
Yeah, isn't the Wild, like there's another one? I thought there was in the last one, like isn't like Wild Hunt or something like.
There's Wild Hunt, but that's not an origin of one of the Dark Knights. This was the final of the Dark Knights.
But it's a one shot though, right? It's another one shot connected to this.
Yeah, it's another one shot. But we finally got. So let's mark it down. Let's run it down. We got the Red Death.
Red Death was the Flash.
We got the Dawnbreaker.
Is it Green Lantern, Dark Knight?
We got Murder Machine.
Cyborg.
We got the Drowned.
The Aquaman hybrid Batman, Bryce Wayne instead of Bruce Wayne.
We got the Merciless.
That was the Ares one, right?
Yep.
Ares Wonder Woman.
And then we got the Devastator.
And Devastator is Doomsday Batman.
Well, now we get the Batman Who Laughs, the leader of the Dark Knights. And if I have to say this, it does seem like every single one of these Dark Knights, like every issue, the thing that Bruce or Bryce or whoever did to become this incarnation has gotten more and more brutal. And man, in my opinion, we got the most brutal one with the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah, I read tonight, I was looking at Twitter, and Scott Snyder even said this was the darkest Batman story he's been involved with.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hardcore stuff, man. What he does to Superman's family is just, oh my God.
So it starts off, we got Batman and Joker. And Joker has pretty much gassed Gotham.
Yeah,
Everybody
well, and
dies.
then he's lining up children with their parents to shoot in front of Batman.
Yeah.
While Batman is helplessly paralyzed from like a muscle relaxer that he gave him.
So this actually goes to the point where Batman has to do he has to break his number one rule.
Yeah, or everyone dies.
Or everyone dies. In this issue, Batman kills the Joker.
Yeah. You also keep in mind that this is a failed universe that's already crumbling. It's not the actual continuity of Earth Prime or Earth Zero or whatever the hell we're calling it.
The Earth of Captain Carrot? No. But so he kills Joker. And then he brings in the Bat family. He brings in Batgirl, Jason. He brings in Nightwing. He brings in Tim Drake to train. And the hardest training they said that he's ever put them through.
Oh, well, right before that, you get Superman and him looking at the Joker gassed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And they had become these little Joker goblin-y little weird creatures. And Superman, they were trying to find a cure for it. They didn't think they'd ever be able to cure him. But Superman was saying he's going to take on their care personally because they need someone they can't hurt. Because he said a nurse tried to bring in their food or something, and they tried to bite her throat out.
Yeah.
And Batman like laughs at that, and he starts to laugh, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry, that wasn't funny." So you start to see the effects of what happened to him take place right then. But it's a little clue.
Yeah, it's a little clue to what comes. So so Nightwing and all of them, they're talking about how hard this training is, and they kind of realize that Bruce is not training them to fight villains. He's training them to fight him.
Yeah.
And they confront Bruce on that. But Bruce basically tells them that wasn't the case either.
No, yeah, that's not what he was doing. He's wearing them out.
He's wearing them out. And then from underneath the cape, he pulls out 2 freaking Tommy guns and shoots the entire Bat family. Except for Damian. Damian was not there.
Because he says they're the only. He said, "I didn't bring you here to train you to stop me. I brought you here because you're the only ones who can stop me."
Yeah. See, he explains when the Joker died, the Joker in his body had this Joker chemical in his body that would transfer to the person closest to him in the event of his death, knowing that it would be Batman. So Batman is intoxicated with this chemical of the Joker's and is basically becoming the Joker.
Yeah.
But a Joker Bruce Wayne hybrid. So all the maniac, crazy psychopath of the Joker with the genius detective skills of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, well, we should say the whole time it's the Batman Who Laughs that's narrating the story.
Yeah.
And he's got a guy bandaged up and tied to a chair in front of him across a table.
And we don't know who this is.
We don't know who that is yet. But he goes on this thing, and it actually makes a lot of weirdly dark sense when he's talking about you had the king in a deck of cards, which is the most powerful character.
Of the face cards, yeah.
Of the face cards. And then you have the Joker, who's like more ambiguous. The Joker can be used to modify either... It's used as a modifier and modifies things. It can be powerful or not powerful. It's kind of an ambiguous card, but when put together
with the king,
it's unstoppable. So, and that's kind of his analogy how the Joker and Bruce Wayne melded and why they needed to.
So he kills the whole Bat family, and then Clark shows up.
Yeah, he goes to the Watchtower, I think, because Wonder Woman's dead.
Oh, yeah,
everybody's dead.
He killed all of them, and he has Damian with him.
Yeah, he's twisted Damian into some kind of weird-looking scarecrow demon thing.
And he even mentions that Damian, because Superman looks at him and says, "What did you do to your son?" And he tells him, I didn't do anything. He did this to himself. He wanted to do this.
He volunteered because he wants to impress Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So he's killed all the Justice League. All the Justice League is dead except for Superman. And
the cool thing he says too is he said, I was walking through here the other day and I realized just how many Doomsday weapons we have.
Yeah. And it comes to find out that not only were the Justice League on the Watchtower, but Lois and Jonathan Kent were also on the Watchtower.
Yeah. And he's got them under a red sunbeam, so they're powerless. He's got a red sun projector on Jonathan and Clark, and their eyes are bleeding. Even they've got no powers, and they're just weak and helpless.
And Clark he's basically of the mindset that Bruce is going to kill his family. Bruce is going to kill Lois and Jonathan, but oh no. No, that's not.
No, well, he tells them, tell your family it's going to be all right, and Clark's even hopeless at that point. He says, I'm not going to lie to my family for you, because he knows they're all going to die.
At which point, the Batman Who Laughs pulls out red kryptonite.
Black kryptonite.
Oh, black kryptonite.
It's a special. He modified a strand of black kryptonite, and he said he tested it on Supergirl. And she tore apart her own family before she killed herself.
Yeah.
And then he just says, here, catch, and tosses it to Clark.
At which point, off screen, but you can get the gist, Superman kills his own family and then himself.
Tears them apart and then commits suicide.
And the
fucking horrible.
Oh, it's horrible. The darkest. That is the darkest, because he made Superman kill his own wife and child.
It's brilliant though, man. It's just fucking so good. I just the thing with Bendis I don't know about, but I hope they continue on this path of brilliance through Rebirth and Metal and Doomsday Clock.
So the next sight you see is the Batman Who Laughs on a throne of skulls in a desolate wasteland, and that's when Barbados comes up. That's when Barbados
that's his world. The universe is starting. The universe he's in is beginning to crumble. He always comes with the end of these universes that are failing.
And that leads us to him with the bandaged guy, and then taking him off to some place. And that's the end of the issue.
I'm wondering who that's going to be. I'm not. I was trying to think. Did I miss something here? Am I missing?
It's not going to be like Forever Evil, where it was like Alexander Luthor or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's going to be. This is the thing everything they've done with Metal and all these one shots. For the first time in a big event that I've read in probably 5 or 6 years anyway, every tie-in that I've read has been really important to this. It's not like these frivolous tie-ins that just they stamp Metal on it and it really has nothing to do with it. All the ones that are specifically tied into this really have to do with it, and you need to read them.
You know what? I just had a thought. Go with me on this. Tell me if I'm crazy. The guy in the bandages. What if it's Carter Hall?
That'd make a lot of sense. Actually,
right?
I was thinking myself in the back of my mind. I was thinking it might be the real Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And because they're all Bruce Wayne, and he's talking about how they're all. He's even telling this guy how they're all Bruce Wayne, in one way or another, and. So I was thinking it might be Bruce Wayne because they weren't trying to get Bruce to the Dark Multiverse to be the Battery. They brought Bruce to the Dark Multiverse to lure Clark to be the Battery.
Right.
So Bruce isn't on the tower with Clark anymore, I don't think. I think Bruce is all fucked up and sitting in that chair right in front of the Batman Who Laughs.
Well, I don't know, because we know from Batman Lost that he's been in the grips with Barbados. So Barbados may have Bruce close to him. And at the end, we saw in the eyes...
Well, Carter Hall, if that's the case, then yes, Carter Hall makes a lot of sense.
And that's what I'm thinking is because Carter Hall, I mean, you think about it, at the beginning of Metal, it was very, the whole story of the Hawkmen.
And then the Journal of Carter Hall was buried in Wayne Manor under the floorboards before it was built. So, I mean, it's been there forever.
But what if that is Carter Hall... Because to me, that makes a little more sense because his face is bandaged. If it was Bruce, I think they would have just said he's talking to Bruce. But with Carter Hall, knowing that Hawkman is supposedly dead, but we know he's coming back, that makes more sense to me that it's Carter Hall and that they've been keeping him because he's the bird. He is the bird against the bat.
And we know it's not Hawkwoman because she's cut her wings off and she's living as a normal human now.
Yeah.
But, did they say specifically where they were? Were they in the regular DC universe at the point, or were they in the Dark Multiverse while he was talking to them? Because I thought all of the Dark Knights were in Earth Prime.
I think it was. It sounds like he was in Earth Prime because didn't they show that the other didn't he show that the other Dark Knights were still fighting against their Justice League counterparts in the
he was saying your world is almost gone. We've almost taken your whole world. Everyone is dead and everything it's ours. There's nothing you can do.
And Carter Hall is the one that originally went through those multiverses. So to me that makes sense. I'll be if you heard it here. If it turns out to be Carter Hall, you heard it here first that I made that prediction.
I never even thought about that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But it is.
It just hit me in the head. I mean, it just really hit me in the head. What else did you read this week, Chief? I got so busy. I apologize that I don't read many more, but I get so busy.
I didn't get the opportunity to read Superman, and the only other one I got to was Batman, which was fucking great. What was it, 35 or 36? Yeah. I don't remember. But fucking great. It's the continuation of Bruce taking Catwoman, because Catwoman is being blamed as being framed. Well, not framed, but she's being blamed for multiple murders.
Yeah.
And the woman who actually did it is in the care of Talia al Ghul in a off-limits part of the whatever desert they're in. I want to say Qatar, but I'm not sure what. That's not right. But it's something like that. But they've put a guard on it, and they say absolutely no capes in this part of the world, and you're not allowed to go in there. Well, Batman goes against the Justice League, and goes against the United Nations or whatever, whoever's made this decision. He goes against it, and he takes Catwoman in there to meet Talia al Ghul and to find this woman that can clear Catwoman's name for all these murders. And so they get in there, and Talia al Ghul comes out, and she says, do you have a sword, to Bruce Wayne? And Bruce Wayne's like, no, of course I don't have a sword or whatever. And so she kicks Bruce's ass, basically, and then stabs him like right in the back with the sword and says, hold my sword. And starts talking to Catwoman, and she says, do you have a sword, to Catwoman? And Catwoman says no, and she says, well, get one. That's what she told Bruce, get one. And he didn't get one, so she stabbed him. Oh. And so basically she tells Catwoman the same thing, do you have a sword? And she says no, and she says, well, get one. So Catwoman walks over to Bruce and pulls the sword out of Bruce and goes, I got one. And so they start fighting back and forth, and Talia al Ghul saying, I was raised by the demon, and from the time I could walk, he put a sword in my hand and told me to fight. And when I didn't fight, he punched me to the face to the ground and beat the shit out of me, even as a toddler. And she said, and he would break me and beat me and kill me. And whenever I would die, he would just throw me in the Lazarus pit and bring me back. And said that she had done that time and time and time again. She'd been reinvigorated by the Lazarus pit as a child her whole life. And said, I've been trained with a sword all this time. But Catwoman the whole time is holding her own and kicking Talia al Ghul's ass and says, you know what? I didn't have a father at all, and nobody ever gave me anything. And as a matter of fact, I've probably only held a sword twice in my life. Aren't you impressed? And she just kicks the shit out of Talia al Ghul, flips her onto her front, and says, here, hold my sword, and stabs her right in the same spot that she stabs Bruce and sticks the sword in her. And then she goes to talk to this girl that she needs to come back to, own up to what she did. Yeah. So, but the best part is you also get some interaction between Damian and Dick, which is pretty cool, because Dick, as you've said before, is more like an older brother to Damian than any of the other Bat kids. He kind of watches Damian and because he he was the first, and I think he's closer to Bruce than any of them, and he knows Bruce, and he knows what Damian's living like.
Yeah.
So they're really close, and there's a funny thing where he says, well, he puts up with all this shit out of Bruce. He said, because I am Robin and he is Batman. And Dick Grayson's like, hey, did you really just, the words I am Robin just come out of your mouth? And then Damian says, I hate you. And he says, I know, because I'm Nightwing and you're Robin. And it's the funniest, it's the greatest exchange. And then they, while Catwoman is talking to this girl to clear her name, Talia al Ghul like crawls over next to Bruce. Bruce is against the wall,
just like bleeding out.
He's like bleeding out against the wall, like laying there, and he says Talia, and she's like, detective, and she like just crawls up next to him and sits on the wall, and she's like, so this is your betrothed then. And Batman kind of grumbles at it, and Talia al Ghul just goes, I like her. and gives Catwoman the approval to marry Bruce. So that's pretty cool. And then they come out and meet Dick and Damian at the end. But that was a really good arc too. I really like that one. I'm really liking the way Tom King's writing Bruce finally finding some happiness. You know?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, like we said on this show before, Catwoman is.
And she won't die because she's Catwoman, so they'll be together a while. Yeah,
so fantastic. That is great. And, of course, we're going to be bringing you every week like we always do. We'll bring you more DC Comics, especially Doomsday Clock, because that should be coming here shortly.
Yeah, I'm excited for Doomsday Clock. The big Dr. Manhattan face behind Superman has got me very intrigued.
And the last thing we'll say is that Chief and I, we put in for our press passes for C2E2 2018.
We're going regardless. If we don't get press, we'll still be there, so we'll see y'all if you're going to be around.
Yeah, so if you're in the Chicagoland area next beginning of April, I think it's the 6th through the 8th, I believe.
Yeah, I know it's the 6th. I'm not sure how long it's around.
Yeah, I think it's the 6th through the 8th of April. If you're in the Chicagoland area and you want to come to C2E2, you want to hang out with the Renegades, we will be there in all.
Oh, we'll hang out with you too. You'll be sick of us by the time it's over.
Oh yeah, we hang out. We hang out. We'll take photo opportunities, the whole 9 yards, because we're going to be live on the floor. We're not going to be sitting at a booth, and we're not going to be sitting there, you know.
Oh, no.
No,
we can't afford that shit.
Oh hell no.
We're guerrilla interviewers.
Oh yeah, but we will be live doing podcasting on the floor of C2E2. We have our little recorder. We are going to be recording. We're going to be shooting videos. And then also that night, one of those nights, because I'll be with Chief, we're going to be doing commentary right there at Chief's house. We're going to be watching movies.
Probably going to be doing a whole episode of the show from there.
Oh, darn right. We did it last time. We did a whole show right there from your living room. So just making sure that I don't fall asleep on Chief's couch because we're going to be so tired.
Yeah, spins out, man. You get out of a convention with him as soon as he hits a chair, boom, he's gone.
I'm done. I am gone. I kept dozing off during Neighbors, and I'm like, oh what? Oh wait, gotta wake up.
Rick.
So, Crystal, she's gonna tell you where you can find us every week.
The Nerd Rage Renegades are on the air every Wednesday on Podbean, Stitcher, Player FM, iTunes, Google Play, and every Thursday on GamingRebellion.com, Filling the Void Podcast Network, and now iHeartRadio.
Chief's at Space Chief 75 on the Twitter. Go check him out with the pictures of all the doggies. Go check me out on the Nerd Rage Renegades. And I think it is hilarious that I saw the Space Wife today do one of those things where you post the first picture and that's the way you die.
Yeah.
And hers was, of course, Stuart is what kills her. But then mine is the Psychotronic Man.
Well, it almost killed us, but we survived it.
So make sure you go check that out. And, of course, we'll be back here next week. And, yes, we will have Thanksgiving episodes for everybody. So we will.
Are there any Thanksgiving-themed entertainment besides that Thanksgiving movie? I can't think of any.
Is there a Garfield Thanksgiving? We'll have to see. Maybe we'll do Garfield Thanksgiving.
I think there is, yeah. We'll have to talk. Well, we're going to do some research this week, man.
Oh, yeah. So until next time, Chief. Can't wait for Doomsday Clock.
I can't either. Good night, everybody.
Nerd Rage Renegades.